Welcome to week 1 of Embodied Advent, Journeying with the Psalms. For the next 4 weeks, we are going to walk through the traditional Advent themes of hope, peace, joy, and love. Each Sunday, I'll be releasing a new video, and each video will include a reading from the Psalms, 10 to 15 minutes of gentle yoga movement, and we'll end each session with a breath prayer. So let's get week 1 started. Take a moment to make sure you're cozy. We're not going to do anything crazy on the mat today, so sweaters, fuzzy socks are all welcome. You might want to take a moment to put on some instrumental Christmas music in the background or light a candle, whatever it is that makes you feel nourished and cozy on your mat. When you're ready, I'll meet you right back here and we'll get started. All right, we're going to get started today in a comfy seat. So whatever that means for you, go ahead and make your way on down to your mat. We'll close the eyes and just take a few moments to invite some softness into the body. And then start to simply notice the breath as it flows in and out. Maybe sit up a little taller on your next inhale. Roll the shoulders back and down on your next exhale. And then come right back to the breath. One thing that gives me hope about the Christmas story is that very few people knew that the Son of God had been born. The vast majority of people on this earth were just carrying on with their normal lives, cooking meals, going to work. They had no idea that God was moving in this miraculous way. And so during the hard days or the hard seasons, I like to remind myself that I don't know all of the many ways that God is working. I don't know what God has in store, and I can hope for miracles. I can hope for the good things to come. Our verse for today is from Psalm chapter 62, verses 5 and 6. For God alone my soul waits in silence, for my hope is from Him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be shaken. Let those words settle into the mind, the heart, and the body. Take just a few more breaths. And holding that theme of hope in your heart, we'll start to connect breath with a little bit of movement. On your next inhale, sweeping the arms high, palms meet together. Exhale, hands to heart center. Again, we inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Do that one more time. Really reach through the fingertips. And exhale down to heart center. Now this time we're going to inhale, sweep the arms high. At the top, we're going to pause, interlace the fingers, press the palms to the sky, and take it side to side. Just find a gentle side stretch. Maybe even taking it around in circles. And then release, bring those hands back down by your sides. With another big inhale, let's sweep the arms high. This time we twist, bringing the right hand to the left knee, looking out over the left shoulder. Take a breath or two here. And then leaving the torso, the body, exactly how it is, we're going to turn the gaze so that we are looking out over the right shoulder. And then find just a few little circles in the head and neck here in one direction and the other. And then come back to center. Over to the other side, inhale, sweep high. Exhale, twist. Really lengthen on the inhale, softening into that twist on your exhale. And then leave the torso just how it is, but gently guide the gaze over the left shoulder. And then find some little circles here in one direction and the other. And gently release back to center. Coming from our seated position, we're going to lean on through to a tabletop. Let's cycle through some cat-cow. On your inhale, we're dropping the belly button and lifting the gaze. Exhale, arch the spine, drop the head. Go ahead and do that a few more times at your own pace. And then meet me back in a neutral spine. I'm going to walk the hands forward and lean all the way through down into a little Sphinx pose. And take just a breath here. So we've got the forearms rooted down into the mat. The legs are nice and long, reaching out through the toes, lifting through the shoulders. And on our exhale, we're going to lower the torso down, bringing the fingertips out just a little bit wider than the mat, sort of gecko fingertips. And we're going to find a little breath flow here. You might want to widen the legs just a little bit if that feels like it gives you some more stability. On our inhale, we're going to gently press into those fingertips, lift through the torso, and look out over that left shoulder. Exhale, release on down. Inhale, lift, look out over the right shoulder. And down. Go ahead and flow here a few more times. Last one, maybe even yourself out. And then bring the flat palms back onto the mat and press up to your tabletop. You might want to just take a little moment for an extra cat-cow here. Find a little counter stretch for the low back. And then come back into your tabletop. We're going to bring weight into the right knee and take the left knee and just start to draw some big circles with the left knee. It doesn't have to look just like me. They can be small circles, just free movement, finding what feels good. Switch direction when you're ready. And then bring that knee all the way up toward the nose and plant the left foot at the top of your mat. We're going to plant the right hand on the mat. Inhale, sweep the left arm high and reach through those fingertips. Find a lot of space through the shoulder here. And then just start to draw some big circles or sort of rainbow shapes. With this lifted arm, you can pivot the torso one direction and the other. Again, there's no firm right or wrong here. Just finding some feel-good movement. And then come back so that the left hand meets the left knee. We're going to walk that foot out just a tiny bit. Press the knee away from the body. Look up and out over that left shoulder. Take a breath or two. And then come back through center. Plant the left hand, slide that knee back down onto the mat, and take a little cat-cow here. Maybe even send the hips back to a child's pose. Taking just a moment here to remind ourselves that the simple act of coming to our mats, doing something to care for our bodies and our minds, that is an act of hope. It tells us that we believe we have a future and that we are tending to a brighter future. When you're ready, go ahead and lift back up to your tabletop position. And come over to the other side. Ground down into the left knee. Start to draw some circles with the right knee. Switch direction when you're ready. And then draw that right knee up by the nose. Plant it on the mat and find a low lunge. Planting the left hand on the mat, inhale, sweep the right arm high, really reach through those fingertips. And start to find some feel-good movement, any kind of circular stretching movements that feel good. And then the right hand comes to the right knee. We slightly walk the right foot out wide. Press the knee away from the body, look over the right shoulder, take a breath. And then come back through center, plant the right hand down, slide that right foot back. Finding your tabletop, maybe we cat-cow. Just a moment. And then go ahead and sink back into your favorite variation of a child's pose. Coming back to our words of encouragement today. For God alone my soul waits in silence, for my hope is from Him. Go ahead and lift back up to a tabletop position. This time we're going to tuck those back toes, send the hips high, finding a downward dog. Take just a moment here, feel free to pedal it out. Sway the hips. Find the breath. And then start to walk the feet out just a little bit wider than normal, maybe about mat distance apart. Take a breath or two here. Notice how that might have changed the downward dog. What do you feel in the body that's different? And then start to walk the hands slowly back toward the feet. Coming into a slightly wide-legged forward fold. Hands can come onto opposite elbows. We're just going to slightly rock and sway side to side. And then allow the arms to hang heavy as we roll up the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Bringing the feet hip distance apart, coming up into a mountain pose. Maybe we take a moment to close the eyes, just feel the strength of the standing posture, shoulder blades draw together, crown of the head reaches high. Allow the eyes to flutter open, prepping for a half sun salutation flow. Let's inhale, sweep the arms high, interlace the fingers, press the palms up, and take it to the right, take it to the left. Come back to center with one more big inhale. Exhale, swan dive down to a forward fold. Roll up the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Coming up with an inhale, sweep the arms high. Interlace the fingers. Take it to the right. Take it to the left. Come up through center, big inhale. Exhale on down to forward fold. Roll up the spine one last time. Big inhale, sweep the arms high. Take it over to the right. Side bend to the left. Come up through center. And dive it on down. This time we're going to stay down in our forward fold. Walk those hands forward, finding your downward dog. Take a breath here. And then gently release the knees down onto the mat. Sit back through the glutes and swing the feet around. And come all the way down onto the back. Hugging the knees into the chest, giving them a little rock side to side. And then plant the feet on the mat. Cross the right foot over the left knee and draw the legs in toward the chest. If this feels a little too intense, you might just leave that left foot on the mat. Drawing it in if it feels good. And release. Unwind the feet. Bring both feet on the mat. Allow the knees to windshield wiper side to side. And then come back to center. Cross the left foot over the right knee. Again, you might stay right here with the breath, or you can draw the legs in toward the chest. Maybe circling the ankles or wiggling the toes. And release on down. Both feet come onto the mat. Take the knees side to side, little windshield wiper. And then come back to center. Give both knees one final squeeze into the chest. Choose if you want to bring the nose up to meet them. And then let it all go. Straighten the body out long on the mats. Long legs, feet falling open wide, arms long by your side, palms facing up. And take just a moment or two. Invite some softness into the body, to the muscles in the face, the neck and shoulders, and the hips. And then bring your awareness back to the breath, starting by just simply noticing the flow of breath in and out of the body. And then I invite you to gently lengthen the breath, making each inhale just a little bit longer, and each exhale just a little bit longer, so that the breath still feels comfortable, but just a little bit, almost like indulgent, just a deep, full breath. You may or may not have heard of breath prayer before. That's how we're going to end our practice. So a breath prayer is just a really simple way to meditate on healing words. And the idea is that you take a phrase or a few key words and you think those words or that phrase to yourself as you inhale, and you think another phrase or a set of keywords on your exhale, and you just find a rhythm where you are repeating these words to yourself in your mind for several rounds. So our breath prayer this week is inspired by our psalm reading. On our inhale, we're going to say to ourselves, "For God alone." Our exhale, "My soul waits." For God alone, my soul waits. Go ahead and guide yourself through that breath prayer for the next few moments. We'll take 2 or 3 more breaths. And then start to invite some small movements back into the body. Allowing those movements to grow bigger and choosing if you want to do a full body stretch through the fingers and toes. Eventually hugging the knees into the chest and finding a little rock side to side. Coming over onto one side or the other. Finding a little fetal position and taking just a breath or two to seal in that practice. And then pressing up. Coming back to our tall seat. Ending our practice with one final unified breath. Inhaling as we sweep the arms high. Exhaling, hands to heart center. For God alone, my soul waits. For my hope is from Him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be shaken. Thank you so much for joining me for week 1 of Embodied Advent. I hope to see you right back here on your mats for week 2 on the theme of peace.